I have my students make name tents, so I bring in cardstock, markers, and stickers, and they put them up, and then we play this game called Name Snake, where you have to say your own name, like the first person does, and at the end of the room, you say all of the names in order. And that helps me hear them, and then I keep track of the name tents for them, bring them every class. And then I'm also just not afraid to say, I'm sorry, I've forgotten your name when I'm talking to a student. I also do like a lot of pointing, so if you don't know their name, you can kind of like call on them anyhow. That was the first part. What was the second question?
Blank stares.
Oh,
Silence.
silence is fine. It's thinking time. When you're ready, you keep talking.
For me, for names, at the end of every lab, I have a pop quiz where they have to line up, and I can ask them anything I want, and I can be as mean as I want. And they also sign the logbook for attendance for that lab. So that's how I learn their names. I know it's cruel, but it's the joy of my day, trust me. And blank faces, I usually teach evening, afternoon labs, and I know healthcare students are booked solid with labs and like organic chem plus biology. Like they're exhausted by the time they get to me. I tend to be really lively and try to crack jokes. Sometimes it doesn't work, but I try because I know they're really drained by the time they get there. I don't have students fall and asleep in my class very often, just because they don't know what I might do about that. But blank stares I expect. I know they're drained. I know they're anxious. I know they're at the end of their day. A lot of my students have jobs too. Like, they're really tired. So I don't blame them for the blank stares, but they got to answer that pop quiz question before they can leave lab. So that's how I do it.
In the first couple of weeks of class, I have every person say their name before they answer questions or speak. And it's expected. It's a communication course. So we are going to talk in class. We are going to have those interactions. And then finally, if there are blank stares, which I do expect also, people are drained, but if it gets to a point where it's disruptive, I have them go into groups or think pair share, or let's just break it up, or I'll play music. So random things just to change the pace is usually helpful.
So for names, I also do name tags, and then every time I call on someone, I call on them by their name, and I know their name because it's on their name tag, and I usually doing that, I can figure out their names in like the first 4 class periods, and then for blank stares, like just let the silence happen. Let the students break the silence. It's going to feel a lot longer than it actually is. Like 5 seconds feels like a minute of silence, but if you ask a question and you get a bunch of blank stares, I just kind of scan the room and make eye contact with every student. Well, everyone that will make eye contact with me anyway. And eventually one of them will speak up and say, "Wait, what was the question?" And then you can repeat the question. But leave it to them to break that silence.
All right. When I receive blank stares, I usually ask myself 3 questions internally. A, are they on their phones and they're just not paying attention? B, did I do a poor job explaining the subject material? Because again, English is my second language. Sometimes I'm just wondering, okay, did they actually understand what I was trying to say, or do I have to reiterate the question? And third is, are they just kind of like wondering about the answer, because it's a rather complicated question I raised? And so in theater, usually you have this technique where you just lean into the silence. You wait a little bit. So if the third point that they are actively considering the question and coming up with an answer, just wait 2 or 3 minutes. Again, like look into the faces, make eye contact, and then once you wait long enough, you're going to receive some answers back. As for names, I sometimes teach classes with 100 or 150 students. It's really difficult to remember their names. If the section is a little bit smaller, like the class on environmental economics I taught a couple years ago, I had like maybe 30 people. you're gonna get, yeah, I usually try to memorize them after the first session, and then, yeah, do my best to keep them, yeah, remembered.
Yeah, also don't feel bad about forgetting their names, because a lot of times they don't know your name, and that gets really annoying. It's like there's one of me, there's 30 of you. For names, I also make like a seating chart, because we're creatures of habit, and then if a student moves, I'll like draw an arrow. The visual aspect of my own seating chart helps me get the names down a little bit better. And then I physically pass back their papers, so I'm matching the name to the face. Blank stares and silence. Don't be afraid to tell them, like, I'm going to wait till one of you answers. And that often tends to prompt someone to answer a little bit quicker.